Live every night on the Halos in the Infield Baseball Network.
Think about it. We'll get into everything that we're going to get into as we go along, but I got to rant real quick. But why would you throw out an inexperienced pitcher in a game you're still close in? And I don't care what the record is. You show up for a fucking rivalry game. But he's actually talking to him constantly. That is a sign of a really, really good coach.
It's the ToddFox Postgame Podcast with your host, ToddFox.
Because the only thing I want to yell is fuck! Hey, welcome into another episode of Halos in the Infield with your host, ToddFox here, as we closed out the Baltimore Orioles this morning. If you were awake and watching that game, a lot of us, like myself, were at work, but we only have one thing to blame for that, and that's because they're not in town, is 714 tickets, 714 tickets, 714 tickets. Use Halos in the Infield, HITI, in the apply code now at checkout to get 10% off your purchase, because what the price you see is the price you get. That's why 714 Tickets is top notch and is partnered with us here at Halos in the Infield. So with that being said, moving forward, the Angels get a W today and beat the Baltimore Orioles in comeback fashion. Now, I was going back and forth with Fernando. He was telling me how he feels that this game was a good win. You don't feel dirty like you did in the first game, coming off of two losses where I guess the starting pitching for the most part held up a little bit better than I thought it did. Game two, I'm not going to blame the starting pitching on. That was just a bullpen blunder, as well as you're giving up runs late because of freakish plays like the ball that was hit off of off the pitcher's leg. So I look at it this way. The Angels got the win today. Not too bad. They hold out and take 2 of 4. We were hoping for a split, and we were hoping for a lot of better things in Ohio, and we lost that series. We didn't want to lose 5 straight series. This would have been the 5th in a row, but we'll have to see what happens with Minnesota coming to town. Boston, who's in last place, but they're still 3 games over 500. And then you got the Miami Marlins, who are in second place, 14-1 in one-run games. So you're going to see the Central leaders. Then you got Boston Red Sox, who did a number on us in Boston, winning 3 out of 4. And then you have Miami Marlins, who are going to come in for 3. So a 9-game homestand. And it's not going to be the easiest one. It's probably going to be one of the toughest ones of the season. So not a make or break, but it's definitely a test. And the way the Angels have been playing, there's no consistency, but this one felt really good because, again, you went back and forth in a seesaw type of performance by your hitting and pitching. And the only thing that was good was that the Angels were able to rally late. And, again, this offense has the ability to score 6 runs almost every night, and they should. And even with a lineup that was a little bit, not as good as it usually is, players came through, and it was good to see. So, if the Angels, like I said, can get on these kind of streaks and use and be more consistent, this team would be a lot better. It just wasn't. And you saw Shohei Ohtani get his 30th RBI with his 10th home run today on a solo blast. It was 1-0. Then Mike Trout. Most encouraging thing of the series and of the road trip is that he looks a little bit locked in. I'm not going to say he's slump busted or nothing yet. He's got to be more consistent, especially against the tough pitching we're going to see here with Minnesota. They got a freak going on tomorrow who's 6-1. I'll preview that in a little while. But the Twins got some good pitchers coming in here. So do the Marlins and the Red Sox. So I want to see what Trout does, but Trout did in this game hit a 2-run homer to give the Angels a 3-0 lead. You're feeling pretty good, but not really. Tyler Anderson, the first couple innings, pitched himself out of some pretty big jams, all self-inflicted because he was a little wild, and he's been a little wild like all season. So it's been tough to watch with him. And you figure, man, you got to get some consistency out of him. He didn't have it. And Ryan Mountcastle on a sacrifice fly after a double. There was 2 outs. He drove in a run in the 5th inning to make it 3-1. Then Santander hits his 7th home run of the year to tie it up at 3, and you're thinking, crap, here we go. We're going to lose to a Baltimore team. We're going to lose a series. And all the naysayers, including myself, because I'll put myself in there with a whole, until proven that this team's a little bit different. Like last year, they would have folded the tent and they would have lost. And it would have been a straight-up loss, and it is what it is. But the Angels, they keep fighting back. That's the difference with this team. They can score runs when guys like Drury are getting singles and guys like Neto are able to do things, and the catching situation comes through. The bottom of the order can carry this team at times, and it did. Zach Neto singled on a line drive. Louis Renifo scores. It was good for him. He had a nice day today. It was the Angels, you felt, okay, we're in a good spot, 6th inning, but a 1-run lead. With this bullpen, let's see what happens, right? You roll the dice, and look what happened in the 7th inning. After getting the first 2 outs, you had a leadoff walk by Wantz, and then it was a, double play. You let a guy get on with a hit, and all of a sudden, Rauschman, who shows his greatness in this series for the first time all series, he blasts a 2-run homer, and you're thinking, crap, we only got 6 outs to score 1 run. And all of a sudden, it's 5-4. But then Gio Urshela in the top of the 8th singles on a sharp line drive. Renifo scores again after he had already singled. It tied it up at 5. Then Shohei Ohtani, ground ball. The first baseman had a brain fart. You thought Chris Drury's brain fart was bad a couple weeks ago? Well, this dude had Mountcastle had a tough play over at first. He didn't realize the pitcher couldn't make it over there or whatever happened. He blew that, and that allowed the game-winning run to score, which was Urshela, or actually Zach Neto from third, and the Angels win a 6-5 contest. Now you look at the box scores for today, and let's first go with our Angels. Moniak went 1 for 3. He had 2 strikeouts. He looked overmatched against the pitcher in the first couple innings. Ward got in there, but again, if the more and more I see, I do like Moniak. I really want Ward to bat around 6 or 7 in the lineup. Take the pressure off of him. Give it to either Moniak or Neto up top. That's just my opinion. Trout, really nice day. 2 for 4 in the home run. He did leave 2 guys on base, but I'll take that. You're getting guys on base. You're driving them in. You only had 1 strikeout. That's an improvement. I'll take that every day of the week. Good on Trout. Ohtani, 2 for 5. He did leave 3 men on base, but he didn't strike out. Another positive. 2 hits today again, including the run on the home run. Renfroe, again, a guy who's very streaky. His average is starting to concern me a little bit. Although he has 10 home runs, he went 1 for 4 today. He left 5 guys on base. He did walk, though, so at least in 2 of the 5 at-bats, he was productive. Drury, 1 more hit out of 5. It seems like that's what he's giving you until proven otherwise. 2 more strikeouts today, 3 left on base. His average is still concerning me. I want him to get hot at some time. But if you think about with Walsh coming back, if he can resemble anything from 2021, Renfroe gets hot again, goes on a streak, and if Drury can actually start hitting for average, man, oh man, this team, they should have no problems hitting 6 runs a game. Another guy that I was a little bit concerned with, although he's been hot lately, but Wallach. Wallach went 0 for 3 today. At one point, he struck out his first 2 at-bats. He struck out all 3 at-bats last night, so he had struck out 5 consecutive times before he finally, I think, grounded into a double play. So his last 6 at-bats have been not productive, but I still like what he's been doing behind the plate, and I know that he'll get a hit here or there. That's all we need from him. But it wasn't a good day for him. Theis, not a good day for him as well. He had 2 at-bats, 2 strikeouts. He was like, dude, that ball looks so different in the sun today. Renifo, though, had a great night today, or great morning. 3 for 4. He had 2 runs scored. He scored both of the big runs to help tie the game, or go ahead and then tie. Then Neto scored. Neto, again, what you want from your shortstop, as young as he is, yeah, the average, you think, man, 236, it's not really good. But consider where this guy has come from. Consider how fast he's been rushed through the system. The fact that he's getting you over the Mendoza is really, really positive. And his swings, even on pitches that he just misses, you could tell the power is going to come. He's going to start getting more hits. and his plate discipline's been very good. Over the series, he's been rung up a couple times on pretty much ball 4. But he went 1 for 4. He scored a big run, which was a game winner. He did have 2 strikeouts, but I like his at-bats. Soto looked good in there in his one official at-bat. He got a hit and a run, and he also walked. And so he looked good today again. He's a guy who's had a bad, minor leagues this year, going between AAA and AA. Last year he was solid, got called up. Remember, he was a dude from the Braves. But, defensively, they don't really like him all that much, but he is a good hitter and he's got speed. So I was glad that he got the start and went 1 for 1, including the walk. The Orioles, again, between the first 4 until late in the game, Hayes got his 3rd hit, but you kept Mullins in check, or he started for Mullins. Mullins came in there and got a big hit in the 9th inning. We'll talk about that. Rauschman with a big 2-run homer. They were able to hold off on Mountcastle. Santander had a couple RBIs, but it was the bottom of the order that usually kills the Angels. And McCann was held down, McKenna was held down, Mateo was held down, and Henderson was held down. Between all 4 of those guys, only 1 hit in 11 at-bats. I'll take that every day. I really would. As far as pitching's concerned for the Orioles, Wells did pretty good. 5 innings, 6 hits allowed, 3 earned runs. That's not bad. 7 strikeouts, lowering his ERA or keeping it around 2.97. It's the bullpen that they actually got to. It was Baker right there, 2/3 of an inning. He gave up 2 runs on 1 hit. Charge to him. The blown save goes to Voth. We didn't see unhittable Cano, which I'm hoping by the next time we face the Orioles that he's been touched up a little bit because he's been unhittable according to our own guys. Anderson, again, his line wasn't impressive. It was similar to Wells. 6 hits allowed, 3 runs, but he had 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and he seemed to be just throwing way too many pitches. For a guy that we're throwing a lot of money at, he's throwing a lot of pitches and getting into a lot of troubles. So I'm really not impressed by him. Once got charged with a hold, pitched an inning, gave up a walk, but got a strikeout. Davinsky came in there and blew that save, gave up the 2-run homer to Santander, and you thought they were going to lose, but Moore came in once the Angels took the lead, got another hold, his 9th of the year, a clean inning again, lowering his ERA to 1.23, and then Estevez got into all kinds of problems. And had it not been for Renfroe's throw to get Mountcastle at second, the game would still be going. And who knows what would happen in extra innings, but that throw, another assist by Renfroe, saved the Angels' ass because then Mullins came off the bench with 2 outs, doubled to right field. He was stranded out there after they walked the next base runner, Rauschman, or I think they got Mountcastle's last out. It was Frazier that was thrown out. My bad. Frazier with good speed was thrown out at second base, trying to stretch a single into a double. And then also Mountcastle came up, who's not a slouch at all. And Estevez got him on a fastball. That was great to end the game. So his 10th save in 11 opportunities. Had they lost this game today, it would have been the 10th blown save after 7 innings in 23 attempts. So good on them for getting the win and not putting it still counts as a blown save, but a loss. They would have been chalked up with a loss in those games. So kudos to the Angels for fighting back however they got it. A bloop and a blast. That's the sexy one that the Angels announcers want. But the fact that they were able to get a couple singles, especially an infield single on just a miscue by Mountcastle at first, I'll take it. I will take it every day of the week. But this was a nice win. This was a nice win to get a split. Would you have wanted it to be drawn up like that? No, but you'll take it. And you come home 3-4 on the road trip. You had a 2-4 homestand before this. It's time to turn it around. But the thing is, you're now in a situation where you're playing 9 games against 3 quality opponents. Twins are in first place. Say what you want about the Red Sox. Although technically in last place, they're a good baseball team so far. They got a better record than we do, 3 games over. And then you got the Miami Marlins, who are in second place, surprising right now. They are 14-1 in 1-run games. So that means their bullpen is very, very strong. So we got to get some wins here. We sit there now at 23-22, a game over. It would have been a bit demoralizing had this team been 22-23 coming home. It's not saying, oh my God, we saved the season. Absolutely not. But there's just a time where, hey, we got to start turning on here. We got to start, because you saw some things that worked out today. They stole a base or two. They moved a little bit on the bases, and you need that. I mean, you absolutely need that. Because otherwise, if you're not moving guys, you're not trying to steal bases, you're just not going to win games. You're not going to win games at all. So let's give out the awards for today. And the award for the John Stamos Perfection Award for the best player on the field, it has to go to Michael Nelson Trout. And it makes me happy whenever we can give it to either him, Ohtani, or any of our big guns, especially when the guys like Walsh come back. If, Rendon actually turns into a player that we think he could ever go into, because if you haven't seen the other pod that me and Fernando made about talking about the worst contracts, if you look at his stats, his current stats right now, his current stats are leading him to be one of the worst, if not the worst contracts. Some people try to say, oh, maybe it's Mo Vaughn. Sometimes it's Gary Matthews Jr., Josh Hamilton, Albert Pujols. If you put what their production was compared to this guy, holy crap. But still the 2023 Angel fans, including myself, say that we need him at third base. We need him to not be faking injuries, being healthy, keeping a positive attitude, and working walks, because the way he's played this year, he's not a number 4 hitter at all. But if you were to put him at first and say, hey, you know what, we'll lead you off because you're seeing a lot of pitches. You're working walks and you're getting freaking hits, or sacrifices. It's like, I would rather, I'm jumping on the bandwagon from what a lot of you guys have been saying. Let's move either Neto to number 1 or let's move freaking Rendon to number 1. And I'm for both of those, or even Moniak. I don't like Ward at number 1. I think it's too much pressure for that dude. I think he started out okay, but you notice when they put him in, lower in the lineup, he starts to tear it up. And then all of a sudden, Nevin's like, oh, you're back. And he puts him in the first spot like an idiot. So, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you've came into something, stick with it if it's working. You know what I mean? Instead, it's like Wallach goes 3 for 5 the other day, including a home run, nearly hits a second one in the opener. Let's sit him the next day. He was already off a week. It's shit like that when your guy starts to look like he's turning it around, he's hitting good. Then what happens? You put Wallach in the last 2 days, and he goes 0 for 6, 5 strikeouts, and a double play. Let him play back-to-back. Maybe he gets into a groove. What are we doing? That's my quick rant on Nevin. I can't stand him. Let's get to the Nacho Night. Who was the worst player of the night?
All the chips, all the cheese, all the refried beans, all the onion and tomato and the guacamole, all the beef and jalapeno and the sour cream, all the nachos.
I think you have to give it to Baker getting the loss, because he came in there and didn't. Brian Baker, again, another pitcher who's pretty darn decent for them this year. So far this year in 22 games, he's 3-1. He's right now he's 22 games pitched, 3-1 with a 2.57 ERA, 27 strikeouts and 21 innings pitched. So he's pitching more strikeouts to innings. So that's always good and positive for a pitcher. But think about it. I mean, he came in there, again, as good as their bullpen is, and Cano and their closer and all that stuff. This guy is just as good, He's their Scott Shields. He comes in there and he just gave up, the lead. But that's good hitting by the Angels. And so, again, I hate to give it to him. You can give it to some of those 0 for 4 guys, but the fact of the matter is he was given the lead, he blew the lead, and he takes the loss all on top of it. But this could be a very, very good team if the Angels are able to play toe-to-toe like they did with these guys and not lay eggs like they did the last couple nights. Now, sometimes, like I said, you could tip your hat, but if you're constantly tipping your hat to the other team, it's on you. At some point, you got to look in the mirror and tip your hat to yourself and say, we're screwing ourselves over more than the other team is. You know what I mean? Like, we're defeating ourselves instead, because there's a lot of games where I could go back and point to individual games and say, okay, we lost that game. They didn't necessarily beat us. We lost that game. Too many errors, not scoring with runners in scoring position when the other team did. And I think the Angels have a lot of things to work on. But and as we're already 45 games into the season, you don't want to be where we're at right now trying to still work on stuff and getting the kinks out. It's not like we're a mile behind in the division still, but still 4 games is within striking distance. You start falling 5, 6, 7, 8 games out, it starts to become a problem, and it doesn't look like we're going to be a division champ. But, again, I feel Texas is going to fall back. Look where Houston's at magically. They're only 2 out. And then you got Seattle knocking on our back door, and they're ready to surpass us as well. They're playing a little bit better. So the Angels have got the heat on them right now. I hope Phil Nevin's feeling it. I hope Perry's feeling it. Artie's over there drunk in the stupor and being woken up and slurring his speech like Sylvester all the time, with his lisp. But I still feel the Angels have got to respond. And we're going to see what kind of heart that this team has moving forward. I really, really, really want to see this team make a run this year. I really, really want this team to be just consistent. If they give, we're going to lay eggs every now and then. We're going to have our buttercup games. We're going to have games like the other night where we only had 1 run on 4 hits. I get it, but I want to see consistency too. I want to see where it's like once or twice during the week we have a bad game, but for the most part we're playing pretty good. That's how you know your team's in good shape, where they're scoring consistently or they're pitching consistently, but they have a hiccup here and there. That's fine. But guys like Tyler Davidson got to get it together. You can't be throwing that many pitches for what we paid you to only go 5 innings. You got to start having some quality starts. We got to start scoring some more runs for Sandoval. Same thing with Ohtani. We got to start helping these guys out. Silseth. I felt Silseth, although only going, 3 2/3, not even 4 innings, he was more frustrated. I think they didn't get in his head, didn't talk to him between innings to help him out. But still, he pitched good enough, long term, and the bullpen did to get that W. Things happen. But, we forget the Baltimore Orioles are not the Baltimore Orioles from 4 years ago. This is a really good team, and I'm happy they got the split, however they got it. But we got to move forward in this, and I really want to see what they do come these 9 games here at the homestand over the weekend. It's going to be pretty good games in my mind. Vetter called it. He said Trout for Stamos. He also said Hell and Ohtani and Gio for Stamos is also. Dan says better late than never. Must have work today. Me too. Like that baby. Yep, sure did, Dan. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to David Roska too. I love that Expos logo, by the way. Fabio says I've never been happier for a split. Exactly. This was a hard-earned split. Anaheim Angels will win tomorrow against Minnesota. I like that, David. The box score checks in with, I still don't understand ugly wins. I really don't. To me, a win's a win. Would you call a World Series Game 7 clincher an ugly win? Hell no, just find a way. Well, it's different in postseason. It's very, very different postseason. It's magnified. Anything you do, whether it's first inning or ninth inning, because this is regular season. Regular season, you don't remember games in the first inning. You remember them late. But that's another comment for another day. Checking in real quick with the always famous.
Tonight, it's time for you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
Exactly. I like this game. It was good. Pitching didn't suck as much this game. Vetter says also, that's why I played for Justin. The balls, and some more balls. Actually, based on comments every week, I think the fan base is more worried about what to call a team rather than winning. Angels fans could care less about winning. Just call them LA. It really doesn't matter what we call them. I just want to get that W in the win column and be consistent. I hate the LA thing. I wish they'd go back to California. Will they? Probably not. We had a chance with Artie leaving, but now that's gone. Grillmaster says he's already looking ahead, of course. Split versus the O's sounds tasty. Okay, maybe not literally. The food is good, though. Now 1-0 since summer break began. They're 12-12 in their last 24. They're playing very 500. XNC says, we won a good game. Great day. The box score says, biggest proof. Look at how many people show up after a win, yet when they lose, There's 50 of you on here that are going to be on Tuesday. Alex said Ward is ass cheeks. He has been playing pretty ass cheeks, and it sucks because he has that long swing. If he chokes up his bat and just tries to get hits instead of home runs or swinging at those low sliders, he'd be such a better hitter. By the way, did you know Josh Autry is related to Gene Autry? That's crazy. I didn't know that. So cool. Brian says offense proving again they have the power to fight back the way they did last year, or the way they didn't last year. Some good pitching on both sides made this a competitive series in the end. Exactly. I mean, Baltimore pretty much showed you what they had, except if you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, you're kind of disappointed that their main, guys like Mullins really didn't ball out. Mountcastle, yeah, he had that home run. Santander finally hit a home run today. But the bulk of their lineup was pretty much held in check. I mean, I thought they were going to go off more, score a lot more runs, and the Angels, credit to them, they held them in check. It was a pretty good pitch series, a lot better than I thought. I was disappointed that Fernando was right the other day with that pitcher, Bradish, pitching as good as he did. It's like, shit, I thought we would get, we scouted the guy. We should know the guy a bit, and nope, he proved us wrong. Offense, I already read that one. The young guys we have in the show and the ones in the minors look good. The future looks bright for this team. Jesus checking in. What's up, my man? ToddFox, do you think the Angels will call up Trey Cabbage tomorrow because he was scratched from today's Salt Lake Bees lineup? That would be very interesting, but I don't know why they would call him up, to be honest, unless someone went down. I haven't heard of anyone going down. Besides, I think in a way you're going to need Cabbage to Cabbage to me is a September call up unless they really get desperate with an injury. I think Moniak's earned his spot up here to at least play some more unless Ward goes down. But you got to think, you got Walshy coming up, which is probably going to be Soto's spot. Soto's going to get sent down. We haven't heard nothing about Statue Stassi. There's what's going to happen when Rendon comes back, whether they're going to move a pitcher or another position player. So it's kind of hard to say right now. I'd be shocked, Jesus. I'm just saying. Were the players listening to the pregame show yesterday and today? I'm only kidding. However, this is proof that the fans, that everyone has the scouting reports. No excuse for zero offense days. I agree, Fernando. Big 20, I'm sure you're going to tell me that when you call. Marty says, glad to see Soto back in the lineup. Hopefully he can stay up for a while. Yeah, I was impressed with him last year. He batted about 400 last year. Obviously, he's not going to do that this year, and he's not going to get much playing time. I think he's going to get at max 10 at-bats, and then he's going to be sent back down. But it could help his confidence to get back down there and get going and get back to the good traits he had last year. And maybe when he's ready for his next call-up, then he'll be ready to do that as well. Let's see. Also, Sean says more likely seeing Walsh back in the lineup tomorrow. Yeah, I'm predicting he should be back. I called it like a month ago that he'd be back for the Twins series. So look for a hopeful call-up here for Walsh, because I'd love to see what he could do in the batter's box. The box score says it's still early. It still kind of is early, but it's not one of those things where, I mean, you can hit the panic button on a few players and a few things that we're doing, but it is technically still early. And if you're anything like Roger Lodge, yeah, the day started today. The season started today. We are 1-0. That's what that idiot probably said today when the show started. How is it a blown save? It wasn't a save situation until the ninth inning. It just wasn't a blown lead. Well, because you're charged a blown save because when you're handed the ball, say for instance for Moore, when he got the ball in the eighth inning, the Angels had just taken the lead, so he's got to hold that lead, and he did. And so had he blown that, he would have gotten a blown save. Even if the Angels rallied in the ninth inning, you would have had two guys with blown saves back to back. It's just a stat out there because once you get into that hold situation, it's either a hold or it's a blown save. So you will get those on your stats. Grillmaster said, had to listen to the Master of Puppets on the radio. God, that song slaps. Great win today for the Orioles. We needed that over the Orioles. As Charlie Sheen says after today, winning. You mean he says this?
Wow, winning.
Also, Grillmaster says Trout Renifo had 3 hits today. That was really good. Vetter says James play that Trout home run. Oh, Tiny! Oh!
Anymore. I just can't. And they can fire me if they want.
I wish
but
they
I
would've.
can't sit around and listen to negative phone call after negative phone call.
I really wish they did fire him. That would have been great. He's been on the radio 10 more years than he should have. See, damn faking injuries. That's a reach. Well, I'm just saying, Rendon, man. I don't like that dude going down as soft as he is. We talked about it on the podcast. Do you remember Pujols played with plantar fasciitis? If you ever watched the Knicks and the Pacers back in the day, we brought that up. Rick Schmitz played through plantar fasciitis. I've known a few people with it, talking or hearing about Pujols' pain that he had to go through, getting cortisone shots and taking meds and stuff. I mean, that shit's painful. And a few of my friends had that, and then it's painful. They said it's sort of like knives being stabbed into the bottom of your the bone or your tendons in your feet, and it freaking affects the way you run, the way you can jog, the way you can even move, walk. And sometimes, you'll wake up with pain and you can't even move your rotate your ankle or your foot. It's super painful for a guy who played as many games as he did. After receiving the plantar, he pretty much signed the contract with the Angels and automatically got plantar fasciitis because he didn't have it in St. Louis. And he gets it here, and he had to deal through that through his entire career. And I don't see him crying and moping around. He might have missed a game or two here and there, but when he actually got hurt for 2 seasons, it wasn't because of plantar fasciitis. He played through it. That's why you saw him huffing and puffing like a train around the bases when he'd hit a home run. And he was easy to double out because he didn't have the speed anymore. I mean, it took a lot out of him, but I'll give him credit. He played through it like a champion. Rendon, on the other hand, I can't call it like I can't sit there and say, oh man, I will say he's faking it. I'll double down on it because if you're a true player, you're going to play through injuries. I mean, look at Trout. Trout got hit on his left elbow, unexposed. You saw the ball. As soon as it hit, it left a knot, and he was already cut. And that was going to bruise. It was going to be a bone bruise. It was going to hurt, and he still played through it. Rendon falls diving for a ball, and he's like, oh, my thigh. Ooh, put me on the 7-day IL. Ooh. I'm tired of that, dude. He's too soft. And I'm sure you've seen enough players in the league that you can tell who's soft and who isn't. And he's definitely soft. Renifo should get to Stamos. Nah, I don't think he came. I mean, he came through, but I'm going to give it to Trout because how we go is how Trout and Ohtani go. The box score says Artie will be live at will be the 100th person, I guess, live. Let's see. Fernando says at the box score podcast, because people like hearing the rants, our podcast numbers are significantly higher than when we lose as well. People need a safe place and to say what they want to say. You can come on here, talk as much crap as you want, as long as it doesn't go personal, as long as it doesn't go racial, of course. But for the most part, you can say whatever you want. I mean, we're not rocks in the outfield, so you could pretty much say whatever you want on here. Let's see. Also, he was going for Gio Urshela. Renfroe with a game-saving throw. Yeah, that was a beautiful throw. People rather be miserable rather than happy. I mean, I've seen us cry over a win. Well, that's the thing. When you have this many losses, this many mediocre games, when just a couple years ago this team was 39 times either at 500 or below it, it takes a toll on you. You just can't sit there and just because they have a fantastic win one night, wipe your hands clean and be like, this is a team moving forward. As a fan base, I need to see more. I need to see a real resume of winning, because it always turns out that once we give any kind of faith, whether it's you, me, Dan Rios, Fernando, James, anybody on here, Josh, Mateo, we get our hopes up, it gets dashed. Tell me in the last 8 years where you've just been so confident of this team. I'll wait. It hasn't happened. So 8 years is a long time to just be given shoveled shit in your face and expect it to be ham and eggs. It's not. And sometimes we get fool's gold, and I'll be just as guilty as the next guy or girl to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm beginning to believe, and my inner Halo honk goes off, and whatever the honk is, and I'll start saying, man, you know what? I like this team. This team could make a playoff run, and then I shit you not, no more than 2 games later, we have either a bunch of injuries or people start not performing again, and we're back in the shitter again. So, yeah, I need to see. I mean, this is a nice win and all, but we still lost the road trip. We lost the homestand before. I want to see improvement on this 9-game homestand. It's huge. 5-4 will be okay, passable. I want 6-3. Hell, I'm going to go greedy. I want 7-2. But that would take good pitching, no errors, and solid hitting. And we could possibly do it. I think this team, honk honk, can actually do that. But will they? And that's where we're skeptical. That's where we're miserable even after a win, because we got to see it to believe it. Rendon isn't coming anytime soon. He's emotionally damaged.
Emotional damage.
Also, let's see. That's just. Oh wait, hold on. Let's see. Oh yeah. Where did I miss? Oh, grown men who need safe spaces need the balls to drop immediately. Well, I mean, sometimes we need safe spaces. I mean, they made a comic book about it.
Tonight, it's time for you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
Renfroe is a defensive god. He sucks at hitting, though. Again, Grillmaster, that's why your takes are so excellent. The guy still has 10 home runs and, 26, 27 RBIs. He's been sucking right now. He's a very Tim Salmon-esque player, but with a huge cannon of an arm. He's very streaky. I mean, he could probably suck all of May, and all of a sudden you forget about it because June he'll have another 7, 8, 9 home runs and another 20, 30 RBIs, and then you're going to be like, oh, Renfroe's one of our best players. He's just super streaky. Now, can you play the Bad News Bears happy music? I don't have that on me, but I will look that up, my friend Dan. Mateo says, Todd, do you like Moore in the 8th inning and Esteves in the 9th? I like that. Use Moore as a setup in the both for Esteves in the 9th. I do like that. I do like it. I didn't like it at first, but right now he's proven me wrong again. Moore has been pitching really good in that spot, and he seems to like it. Again, without that one hiccup that he threw to, the god of Ohio, pretty much Moore has been stand-up pitching the entire time. He's been very reliable. And again, the same thing with that bad inning when they brought Esteves in a tie, when they shouldn't have brought him in. He's been pretty well locked down as well. So why not stick with those two? Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But, our boy's going to come in there and say, oh, he pitched yesterday, can't pitch him tomorrow. So watch tomorrow on the homestand. They're going to be like, yeah, he can't pitch. Ren Pussy right there. I like that one by Sean. Also, Vetter says, Todd, where is the tailgate announcement? We are working on that. The tailgate announcement is going to be out there, and you're going to be a video, and you will see everything. But I can tell you right now, if you guys are watching, I'll just give it away right now, and then it'll be all over Instagram. Basically, $55 is what it'll cost you per ticket. But think about this, though. If you choose to, go to Noble Brewing, which is a 10-minute walk from the stadium. It's free parking if you mention Halos in the infield. So take that away. That's just a plus. But $55. And the only way you can get those tickets, and they go on sale now, only to June 25th. June 25th is a cutoff date. That's as long as they'll give it at those prices, because those prices are going for about $80. It's in section 237, right in between right in between Renfroe and Trout. And basically, it's this. What you get for $55 is you get tacos with us at the tailgate prior to the game, drinks, but you got to bring your own beer. We might have, and pretty much confirming it, we are going to have some helmet nachos to give away to kiddos and stuff. And then we're also gonna give you guys, each one that buys a ticket gets the shirt I'm wearing, which is the black Halos in the infield shirt, like this. It's NWO style. You get that with every purchase of a ticket. It goes for everybody, and then you also get your pair of Thunder Sticks. Plus, it's a bobblehead night, which is basically it's the Trout and Ohtani City Connect ones with a beach hut behind it. And then after the game, you come along to the post-game show. It's going to be a remote at Noble Brewing, set up there. And afterwards, it's 2 pints for $9, plus $1 off of any pint that you purchase of any beer, just because it's Halos in the infield. So you get all that for $55. I mean, and then beer is extra, of course. But again, you get hooked up with food pregame, so you don't have to pay Artie for food. We're going to have different kinds of tacos, maybe some quesadillas, and then those helmet nachos, all for free. And then you come in there and we're going to have the freaking, we're going to have the Thunder Sticks, and then we're going to give away a shirt to everyone that bought a ticket. So we're going to black out the entire pavilion right there, 150 tickets. And so it's going to be pretty cool. So if you're interested, I would suggest you buy your tickets, and they're on sale right now. The official commercial is going to be out probably tomorrow or Saturday. And there you go. And we'll talk it up more. And then we'll have another event that we'll have a commercial for as well, which is actually coming up sooner on June 10th, which is the remote and watch party from Noble Brewing. And we'll have beer specials there too. After the 7th inning of the actual game, if you're at Noble Brewery with us, you will be able to enjoy buy one get one free pints. So if you like to try different kinds of beers, IPAs, that is the place to go, and you should be partying with us. Absolutely, and it's kid friendly. You know what I mean? That's a place that has tic-tac-toe, Jenga, what is it called? Cornhole. Plus, they'll have food there for we're going to have barbecue that night. So there's going to be tri-tips, stuff like that, sandwiches. And then, so there's going to be an array of things. Plus, we're going to have trivia and giveaways that night, too. So we got that. So mark on your calendar, June 10th. If you're not willing to go to the Seattle Mariners game, come kick it with us. We're going to be there the whole night. Pre-game, also the show. The watch party of the game live with us, and then afterwards is a post game, all from Noble Brewing, and then obviously it's free parking there too. And then again, if July 1st is the day where we're all going to be together, I'll be Halo honking it up that day. So there you go. So that's basically everything in a nutshell right there. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Okay. Let's see. Rendon should drink some cranberry juice. Also, Pujols also hindered us playing with that. I don't need you to prove to me how tough you are. Just be healthy. Well, he was what he was. That's all it was to it. And he put up some numbers, though. I mean, he's still with those injuries. 27 home runs, 90 RBIs. He had 1 year, 37 home runs. So, I mean, he still did it, but, you know, was I happy with all his double plays and stuff like that? Not really. But if you're going to put him up against Rendon, he was the better player. Hands down. Prediction, if we're winning come in the 8th inning tomorrow, Matt Moore will not be pitching tomorrow because Nevin logic. I could see that happening. Well, a groin injury is something that is taken seriously. Yeah, but how many times has he had this groin injury, bro? That's just not stretching. So we want guys playing no matter how much it fucks with a team, so as long as they look tough to you. No, what I do want is consistent play, and I don't want fragile players. If you have players on your team that are constantly going down, what are they labeled as? Injury prone. And again, not living up to their contract, and his contract is hefty. You have a responsibility to be on that field no matter what, as much as you possibly can, unless it's something debilitating. I don't think that growing injury is all that debilitating. He didn't look like he... Did you see him come off the field with a limp? No. Did you see him having to be carted off or held like LaFlop did? You know, like where you had the two players hold him and take him off the field? That I can understand. You know, you start hobbling and stuff and it looks like you've been shot, then yeah. Or if they got to carry you off the field, put you on a cart, yeah, of course. You know, I'm praying for you. I hope you can get back on the field, you know, speedy recovery and all those deuces and everything else. But if you're just like taking yourself out of the game, being like, hey, coach, my thigh hurts, you know, like I'm not good. I need 10 days. Fuck you. I don't like that guy. It's too soft. Rendon is truly soft. He's soft as like a true Texan. Probably talks a big game about being tough, but when it push comes to shove, calls out Californians to crush a scorpion for them. And again, what's Rendon known for and being adored by the fans? By punching another player and then by grabbing a fan. That's his major highlights he's had with the Angels, and one walk-off against his former team. That's it. That's it in 4 years. If you're happy with that, kudos to you. But I'm not. Urshela's last name should be Crushella or Clushera because of he's so clutch. Let's see. There's always an excuse for a soft fan base. Same big hammer. My generation hasn't seen playoff baseball. Exactly. So no playoffs mean be soft and cry over everything, Mateo. No, it's just disappointment. It's disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Let's see. Also, a Nats fan says groin injuries can cause blood clots. Nothing to joke around with. So how is having a ball that took a wicked hop and hit him in the groin faking it? Because I've seen guys take – I've taken a ball off of my freaking shin. It shattered like my shin bone, like cracked – not shattered it, but it fractured it. And I freaking had – multiple blood vessels broken to where my leg from the kneecap just below all the way down to my toes was purple. And I still played 3 games and I never missed a pitch. Dude's getting $38 million. I was losing money. You do the math. He should play. If he had a blood clot, that's another story. But did he have a blood clot? No. So if he had a blood clot, obviously, it's apples to oranges. If you're comparing that, he could have had a blood clot, but did he? No. Should he be out there? Yes. Again, I'm seeing a lot of guys playing through injuries, and a lot of guys like him, unfortunately, just sitting out for whatever reason. Salmon had a trending out, or had a good throwing arm. He did have a good throwing arm, but dude, not close to freaking Rendon. 7-2 on the homestand. Give yourself the biggest honk ever and sit next to Roger. Well, I'm hoping. Maiko says Mountcastle was not a miscue. Saved a run with his dive. No way he was beating Ohtani to first. The only play was the pitcher getting to the bag. Yeah, I mean, I got that backwards. It was the pitcher that had the brain fart. You're absolutely right. I forgot it wasn't a jury play. It was the pitcher that just forgot to cover. He was probably like just looking over and being like, oh my God, what a great play. I forgot about that play. My bad. Mateo says, I want to take 2 of 3 from the Twinkies. Well, then we got to keep Correa cold. Have a great night. Off to watch my grandson. The defenders right there. Awesome. Except Mateo, when we go 2 out of 3, we're still going to cry over a loss. So you want to sweep. Let's see. What section are you going to be sitting in for the game, Todd? It's going to be 237 like everybody else. Doy says, 2 on nobody out in the 5th inning. Move the runners, but Nevin put much pressure on Trout and Ohtani to hit the 3-run bombs. Yeah, you swing away, but, I mean, those are your contact guys, so I can I'm kind of okay with that if they're trying to go and be the hero and maybe – I mean, I would love for them to shorten up their swing and just get a hit, but their mentality is always double or home run, and that's fine. But they flied out twice. If it's any other person out there, not Rendon or Renfroe, I mean, I would like to see a bunt or a swing the other way. Obviously, I mean, it's sort of 50-50 right there, Doy. I can agree with you and disagree at the same time. Can't wait to see you guys at the tailgate, Halo fam. Yeah, Fernando will be there. He'll also be there on the 28th of this month as well. If you want to come out for the Marlins game, he'll be there. All the Mountain Dew for the Big Hammer. We're going to give him a Mountain Dew Gatorade splash. See, I'm going to the Grizzlies game for the cheaper bet. Or instead, laugh aloud cheaper for cheaper beer, Box Score says. Also, graduation party for my friend that night, so I can't go. Okay, Johnny says, you're 100% right. To this point, this has been a bipolar organization since. It sure has. Tacos El Pastor, most likely. My boy is going to be doing them again, Paulo. So he does the El Pastor, he does chicken, and he does asada, of course. And then he makes some mean-ass quesadilla. Then we're going to do probably chicken or asada nachos. Helmet nachos. There it is. Let's see. Also, what is a man without a dick? Answer Rendon. Enjoy getting hot dudes that night, Hammer. They'll gladly get. Vetter says, gotta wear the thong for the July 1st post-game show if they win. I don't know, man. I can't just, put one on just for that, man. Let's see. Also, Box Score says, I basically planned the entire tailgate minus the 714 tickets, and I'm not even attending. Mateo says, I bet you if we are in the playoff contention, Rendon will stay on the field. I would hope so. Fernando says, once you get past a certain level of pay, you are expected to play and perform. You can't make team captain type money and not go out there and play. And that's been my point too. I mean, you think about those contracts that we bitched about so much in the past. Everyone talks about Mo Vaughn. They forget that Mo Vaughn, and although falling down was pretty funny and dangerous to his career, and he missed that entire first year, He came out and he hit I think 37 home runs in a lineup that had 4 guys who hit over 30 home runs, or 5 guys. And so they were mashers when he was in there that one year. He had a decent year the third year he was with the Angels, and then he was traded off to, I think, the Mets. So, I mean, his career, I mean, it wasn't exactly a complete failure. The team didn't make the postseason like they thought they would with Mo Vaughn, but the thing was, he still had a couple decent seasons. Gary Matthews Jr. has had way better numbers than freaking than our boy Rendon. Even like we talked about, God, why am I blanking on his name? I just brought it up. The former druggie, he came out there and he had a great year as well. So, I mean, like, again, Rendon's just got to be on the field, man. And that's why we talked about there's been some bad contracts, but those guys are always going to be remembered and held to a higher standard because of the money they were paid. And only because of inflation, you're seeing the money that Rendon got this year, which is like $38 million, per year. Of course, you've got to perform, dude. I mean, like, again, unless your name is Kobe Bryant and you had those injuries in your last few years, he was maxed out. A lot of people said that he was given a contract just because of his prior accomplishments. The Lakers didn't want to see him in another uniform. But was he worth that money at the time? No. Was he worth that money before that? Absolutely. He was worth his weight in gold. Is Rendon the reason why you go to a game? Hell no. But should he be? Maybe. If he played up to his expectations, you'd be like, man, this guy's either the second best or the third best player on this team. He's about 9th, maybe, best player on the team. Maybe. And that's saying something for a guy who's owed $38 million. Think about it. A guy who only has 1 home run and 20 RBIs and has missed multiple games already this season, making $38 million as your 9th best player on the team, maybe? That should tell you that he's been a bust, a huge bust. And it's not even over yet. It's like Fernando said, he's still got half the contract to go. But in his first 4 seasons, or if you don't even want to count the COVID year, which was his best year, he's been a huge, embarrassing failure. And a lot of players, a lot of fans, like the box score wants to just give him a free pass. And Sonya, because he was a Nats player at one time, I get it. You loved the player before. But he hasn't done squat with us. Nothing. So that's going to be the argument that I'll always hold up against is until you prove me wrong, just like the Angels as a team. I need to see you do better before I believe in you. Same thing with Rendon. I need to see more from you. If you're going to turn into a guy that's going to bat 280 and knock in about like 10 to 15 home runs and get about 70 RBIs, I'm good with that. If you can stay on the field, just stay on the field. Play me 120, 130 games. We're fine. Well, I'm good with you. Even though we're paying you still too much money. You don't play to that contract, but still you're giving me consistent play. I'll take it. If that's your career, you're 12-60, fine. I'll take that. But don't give me this, I've got a growing injury. I've got this injury. I got to sit down. You're just hampering the team, and you're weakening a team that needs to win now. So I'm tired of excuses for him. I'm never going to give him any excuses. I'm tired of it. See, my grandfather was a tough Texas and would beat y'all's ass. Okay, that's fine. Let's see. You know that Rendon is not the man I'd expect to grab a fan or hit a player that got with an injured hand. Okay, but can he hit a ball? Brian says, you know who's the complete opposite of Rendon? Bryce Harper. That dude has returned early from injury his whole career. He's not a pitcher. He's not a pitching, but he's still came only 5 months after Tommy John. Yeah, he's not a pitcher. Yeah, that's not bad. Dude, Noble, glad I brought it up. Exactly. Yeah, and you're more than welcome, Dan. I better see you there. Mateo says, Todd, you forgot about Rendon's lefty home run. That was a memorable moment. Yeah, that was off of Brent Phillips, the hat guy. I bet Rendon getting hit in the groin was... It's a sprained ankle I get, Mateo says. Justin Option says, Rendon, 187 games so far, emotionally damaged. Yep. He's been emotionally damaged for a while.
Emotional damage.
714 Tickets just liked our Instagram Phil about Trout and Ohtani and Renfroe thinking the lights were too bright yesterday. Seems kind of fishy you'd go to the Marlins game, Grillmaster says. If we're counting games, let's count Trout the last 3 years. Total games played, 198. Okay, 198 games. Let's look at what he's done stat-wise then. Let's check it out real quick. In the last 190 games, let's see what Mike Trout has done in 198 games compared to our boy right here. Okay, so let's go down here. The last couple of years, been very injured. We get it. Or actually, let's go back to 2020 even. He played 53 games right there. In those 53 games in the COVID season, 17 home runs, 46 RBIs. In, let's see, 2021, he only played 36 games, 8 home runs, 18 RBIs. In 2022, 40 home runs, 80 RBIs. So far this year in 41 games, 9 home runs, 21 games, or 21 RBIs. So let's see, that's 3 years right there, 48, 57 home runs, and about 119 RBIs. Now let's go over to Anthony Rendon, last 3 seasons, and let's compare the two. Okay, let's compare the two. Anthony Rendon, last 3 seasons for the Angels. 2020, again, we will X that one out too. 9 home runs, 31 RBIs, best one in 52 games. Still played less than Trout. In 2021, he only played 58 games, 6 home runs, 34 RBIs. 2022, last year, 47 games, 5 home runs, 24 RBIs. 2023 so far, only 30 games played, a home run, 20 RBIs. So right there, Rendon's numbers are 12 home runs, 58 RBI, no, 78 RBIs. So 12 home runs and 78 RBIs. Again, if he did that for 1 season, I would take that. But that is 3 seasons of $30 million plus that we are paying him, and still, that's the production we're getting. I think my case is closed on that one. I'm just saying. Vetter says, my dad's asked if the tickets are on sale right now. Yes, they are, but you can only call in. They're not the ones you can get on the app. You have to call in and say, Halos in the Infield special July 1st tickets, and you get your voucher for the food. You get your shirt when you get to the stadium with us, and you'll get the Thundersticks all rolled into one. And then, of course, it's also a free bobblehead night that night as well. Let's see. Also, after Mo finished his tenure with the Angels, I guess it was time for no move on. The box score says Mo falling down was funny. Jesus, that was what the fuck is wrong with this? Dude, hindsight being what it is, he fell. They didn't have a damn gate up there. It was funny, especially when the age I was a kid. I laughed at it. I didn't know what the ramifications were. I wasn't as serious into baseball. You realize how long ago that was? It's like, come on. You see that now. I challenge any of you to not laugh at that. I mean, come on. You see a big guy fall on his ass. It looks funny. Now, do you know the ramifications, whether he tore up his kneecap or not? You're searching for straws right now, dude. Like, you really are. Let's see. I go to games and hopefully see the clown Todd. Well, I'll be there as a clown that day. Box score says 9th best player. That's another reach. Tell me how he's not. I could name you 8 better players on this roster that put up better stats than he does. I'm telling you, my argument is you calling it a fake injury. That's a reach. It's not. It's not, dude. Again, all these guys are pitching with playing with tremendous injuries, and then he goes out again. He has a track record. I'm telling you. So you don't even need to look up how many games Rendon has played in the last 3 years versus Trout. It's not even close. Also, box score says, Todd treats me like Grill Master now, yet expects the buddy pricing on my service. Jeez, here we go. Let's see. I don't laugh at injuries. I'm not a dick weasel. Name them. Okay, let's name the players that are better right now. Let's name them right now since you're calling me out as usual. Let's see. Angels roster right now. And I will call them out right now because I just want to prove it. Let's see. Angels roster 2023. Because this is, I'm telling you, you can be mad at all you want, but you don't have any stats to back it up. None whatsoever. You could just say, oh, that sucks. But, okay, what do you got to prove me wrong? Nothing. Now, I'm going to include pitchers in this that are better than than what do you call it? Rendon. I'll tell you this right now. Taylor Ward's got better numbers. Hunter Renfroe's got better numbers. That's 2. Mike Trout's obviously way better. Shohei Ohtani's absolutely way better. That's 5 players right there. That's 4 players right there. Excuse me. Let's look at Brendan Drury's numbers. Is Drury's numbers better than him? Obviously, yes. 7 home runs, 22 RBIs. Batting average not that good, but there's 6 guys right there. Let's move up. What is Neto doing? Does he have more RBIs? Is he catching up? No. Well, he's catching up, but no, his numbers aren't that good. Okay, so he's below him right now. Let's look at Gio Urshela. Is his numbers better than? No, they're close. 1 home run, 17 RBIs. Almost the same damn player. It's a wash with him. Let's look right here as well. Let's see. Let's go over to Matt Thaiss. What's Matt Thaiss doing now? Is Matt Thaiss there? No, he's 308, 1 home run, 8 RBI. No, you got 6 players so far. Patrick Sandoval, better player, should be paid more, 7. You look at Carlos Estevez, 8. You look at I would even throw in freaking Jaime Bierre. Let's look at Jaime's numbers real quick. Hold on. 1-1, 1.96 ERA, 21 strikeouts. Yeah, I think right now he's performing better than Rendon. We're getting more out of him at a low price. I wouldn't say Griffin Canning, wouldn't say Tyler Anderson. Matt Moore's been more valuable, so that's 8 already. I haven't even gone into some of the other rotation or some of the other pitchers, but you get my point. There's better players on this squad right now because he's not showing up. He's just not showing up. And until he shows up, I'm not going to take any excuses. I'm not going to make any excuses, and I'm just going to be like, hey, prove me right or prove me wrong. And right now he's proving me right. He's been a complete and utter bust. Because now if you're saying, okay, you made fun of Mo Vaughn, like he got hurt, he tore his ACL, he missed a year. Yeah, but big boy put on his big boy pants, and the next year he crushed it. And so, what did Rendon do after last year's injury? What did he say? Quote, I have a lot to prove this season because I'm tired of the fans ragging on me for my inability to play consistently. I want to have a good season with the Angels. I love the Angels, and he said all the right things. Now, what has he done since? Because right here, I'm looking at Mo Vaughn's numbers right now. The year after he got hurt. Let's see. Actually, let's see. Let's look at his numbers right here. Hold on. Mo Vaughn right here. So, in 99, he played 114 games. Okay? Hold on. Standard batting. I got to pull up his freaking stats. I pulled up the wrong thing. This is all the value bullshit. Okay, so he didn't play 2001. He was injured. He missed the entire no, actually, that was 2001 afterwards. So in 99, despite the injury and stuff like that, 33 home runs, 108 RBIs. 2000, 36 home runs, 117 RBIs. Already in one season, he did more than Rendon's ever done. So you have 2. It was actually, he got hurt in 2001. So it was the 3rd year. So you had 2 years where he came on 69 home runs in 2 seasons. How's that a bust? That is not a bust. That's him actually playing up to the contract that they actually gave him. So again, it is what it is, man. This is a this is apples to oranges, bro. Again, you have to prove me wrong on this one, and I don't think you can. Not at all. Let's see. Alex says Zach Neto is better than Rendon at this point. See, you got people saying Zach Neto's better. Crashella, just an option, says, yet Taylor Ward has lost his spot in the lineup. He's been pinch hit a lot, but look at his numbers. His numbers are still better than freaking Rendon's. You forgot Ohtani in the pitcher. Yeah, you could put 2 players for the 1. Crashella right there. Matt is indeed more valuable than Rendon. Let's see. Okay, throwing bullpen arms out there is a little bit too far. Well, it is what it is. But you get what I'm saying. They're living up to their contracts. They're playing better than this dude is playing, and they're staying on the field at least. Because it has the narrative Fernando. Here we go again. Take away the pitching, and your argument is deaf in the water. Oh, God. See, I'll make a bet with you, and I guarantee you won't take it. I guarantee you won't take it. Throw the pitchers aside, and I will guarantee you that there will be 8 players with better RBIs and home runs by the end of the season than Rendon. I dare you to take that bet. I dare you, and I'll put $1 on it. $1 or $100. But if you want to go cheap and just a bullshit little bet between us, I bet you $1 you'll have 8 guys. 8 with better home run numbers, average numbers, and RBIs. Just those 3 stats, not counting batting average or nothing else. No walks, no caught stealing, stolen bases, nothing. Not even games played. I'm just talking about home runs and RBIs. We'll just go with those two. Just two stats. I guarantee you there's 8 players better. I guarantee it. He ain't going to be in the upper echelon of the Angels. He's not. And then what are you going to tell me at the end of the year? Oh, $38 million is justified for Rendon. Bullshit. Bullshit. $38 million should get me at least 30 home runs. And even then, I'll take 5 to 6 off and give me 20, 22, 23, maybe 24 home runs. I'll be good with that. 24 home runs, 80 RBIs, 90 RBIs, good with that. He can't even do that. He's still stuck on Uno. And the one he got was lucky as fuck. So he's a sacrifice machine right now. He's a walk guy. He can still play a valuable part. But he's a very, very valuable third-tier player on this team. He ain't first tier. He sure as hell ain't second tier. He's third tier on this team. He is officially a supporting cast member. So he went from Saturday Night Live. He's on every show. He's your Adam Sandler of Saturday Night Live when it used to be good, to now like he's a supporting actor in the background just coming on because he fits a skit every now and then. That's all he is. He's a supporting cast member. He's in the back of every skit maybe. That's it. You know, if he can come through here and there, okay, good. Hey, did you see what Rendon did the other day? Yeah, he got a walk and a hit. Good for him. I want to know what Ohtani and Trout did. That's all anyone's going to care about. Hey, Renfroe had a big game. What happened to Rendon? He got a walk. Okay, cool. That's who he is now. And again, till it's proven different, he is what he is. Let's see. Shohei is the number 1 player, and Ohtani, Shohei is the number 1 player, and Ohtani is the number 1 player. Let's see. Also, wait. So we can go back and forth. Yet you brought up the 22 Mets the other night and was saying living in the past. When did I bring up the Mets saying they were living in the past? 2022. See, half the dudes you mentioned are on arbitration deals. Exactly. And we're getting more out of them. That's my point, bro. We are getting more with spending less. And you see, that's the problem with Artie Moreno and Billy Epler. They spent a lot. And so when you actually go out and you get stuff that, you know, players that actually play for less and make less, and you win with those players and not the players that you're overpaying, that's going to make Artie say, well, we can keep going back to that well over and over. So they're not spending the money on the right guys. You could say, yeah, they did on Trout, and you would hope that they would on Ohtani, obviously. But they haven't outside of that. Maybe Pujols. But even then, Pujols was, people say that it was a bust because they paid him too much. They had him too long. That one's apples to oranges. You could go either way on that one. Now that we know his career's over, now that we know what he did with us, we didn't get the best of him, obviously. Did we overpay him? Yes. But he still produced. He still hit milestones. We didn't get in the postseason, but I don't think all that was Pujols' fault. Look at the teams we put around him year after year after year. Garbage teams. And expect him and Trout to win. If Trout's the greatest of all time, where are his playoff experience and playoff exposure? It's not there because we didn't put a team around him. That's on the general manager. That's on the owner. But those guys still put up numbers. Ohtani's 10-year here. He still put up numbers. He's still one of the best Angels of all time. But, hey, when it's all said and done, if he walks, we didn't support him. So at least Josh Hamilton was supported with a playoff run. Gary Matthews Jr. had a playoff run. Guys like that got to the playoffs. But better players obviously haven't. And Rendon hasn't really helped us on the field. He's just been another thorn in our side preventing us from being better. And yes, arbitration guys are more valuable this year because they're actually producing. Again, at the end of the year, there's going to be 8 or more players with better numbers than Rendon. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Mateo says, let's go Brandon again. Halos Forever says, that's not fair bet because we know this will be the season-ending injury, LOL. Trotter here says Rendon isn't worth $38 million. However, fat fingers, or no. Johnny Be Good says, what we need is for a GM to not only get great players, but go after the best all-around coaches out there. No reason why every year we have these weird injuries. These coaches are ass. Exactly. And we've been saying this for a long time, that their training staff sucks and that we need better coaches. We need better managers, more experience. We haven't gotten that. Let's see. Also, the box score says Gary Matthews Jr. was on a stacked team. My point exactly. We were able to get him to the postseason because he was a piece that was not effective, but he worked in the system. His numbers weren't great, but he worked, and that was a stacked team, yes. But we failed Pujols, we failed Trout so far, and we failed Ohtani. We haven't put in good guys around those guys. Rendon is not a good guy. He's just not. Rendon isn't worth even $8 million, XNC is saying. So right there. 714-598-3221. I'll take a couple phone calls. I had to leave early last night. My dad was hemorrhaging over a freaking what is it called? A appointment he had. He was acting like it was the end of the world. I'm like, Dad, you're still on time. He's blowing up my phone. I'm like, oh God, I wish you could still drive. My God. It's the Halo Honk line.
All right, so I wasn't going to call in because, we're going to be podcasting in about 2 hours. But I don't want to discuss this topic again during the show.
So I'll say this. For starters, I sympathize with Sonia. And I feel bad every time we have this discussion because I know what it's like to have a hero. Rendon in Washington was a stellar player. Nobody can take that away from him. And that's not the argument we're ever trying to make. So I sympathize with her because her favorite player goes to another organization. She jumps aboard, that bandwagon because, her team was depleted and they shipped off a lot of their players. So I understand what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in San Diego, and though not a Padres fan primarily, I know what it's like to have a lot of these guys you grew up watching and you enjoyed watching to get shipped off to another team. I watched Jake Peavy get traded to the White Sox. Hell, I watched Phil Nevin. I watched a lot of Padres that, my dad absolutely loved not stick around. So I get what that's like. So for Sonia, I'm sorry. But for everybody else, including Randy, I love your brother. You got to be realistic. You hated Rendon until he decided to throw a punch at a fan. And all of a sudden, the narrative changed. Was that a badass moment to defend yourself and your teammates? Absolutely. Is that the reason why a player deserves $38 million? No. No matter which way you slice it and dice it, the contract has been disappointing. There's no other way around it. You and I, Todd, tried to justify it. We're not Rendon haters. When's the last time you and I actively have cheered against Anthony Rendon?
Never.
Yeah, your fiance, we can't say the same thing.
No. She always.
She might be a Rendon hater.
She wants him back with Sonia in Washington. But, the only player that I've actively wanted to fail was Squid. And I'll admit that. But, even in clutch situations last year, I wanted him to get a hit. It's like, come on. But Rendon, I've cheered with him, cheered for him this entire time. But come on, man.
Exactly. I have a Rendon jersey. I have Rendon shirts. I want the guy to succeed here in Anaheim because I'm a diehard fan. Day in and day out, we're here to cover what's been losing baseball for the last 3 years.
Yep.
Everyone on this network has. And we keep hopping on the horse. Somebody on the pregame asked, hey, how do you guys have energy to do this all the time when we keep losing? You know what? Sometimes it's hard. But at the end of the day, it's because I'm a true fan. I want Rendon to succeed. But the $38 million can't possibly be justified where we sit right now. Do I hope that changes? Absolutely. But as we currently sit with the production we have gotten from him, it has so far been the worst contract in franchise history. Does he have time to change it? Sure. He's got 4 more years. Do I hope he changes it? Absolutely. Because at $38 million, we have no choice but to cheer for him.
Yep. Yeah, it's not like he's going anywhere.
Yeah, anytime soon.
There's a lot of people who are always like, oh, yeah, just DFA him. we can't just eat, $100 million. That's, maybe if we're on the last year and we're talking about eating $38 million, yeah, maybe. Or maybe if we have a new owner come in a year or two, maybe they'll be like, yeah, whatever, we'll eat the $60 million, get this guy out of here. Because you hit a point where it's not productive to have you around anymore. And unfortunately, at $38 million, this guy should be at least giving us a win above replacement level. Hell, give me anywhere from 3 to 6 wins right now, Rendon, and I'll take that. Even his defense this year hasn't been stellar. He's known for having a great glove. That was his claim to fame in Washington. And I'm pretty sure he's one of the league leaders in errors right now.
Yeah, he's snagged some balls over there. I'll give him that. But he also has thrown wide of Urshela or whoever's playing first base a bunch of times. And you've actually seen Neto be more proficient, and he's half the dude's age.
Yeah, and that's a little unfair too. And no matter which way you slice it or dice it, it also has to do with the first baseman, right? At the end of the day, if the first baseman doesn't make the pick, or if the first baseman doesn't do what Jared Walsh does and bust out the split, hell, it's not his throwing error, it's the third baseman, the shortstop, the second baseman. So you're counting on your first baseman to bail you out. And, Rendon's not alone in that. There's a lot of players who, one-hop it over there. At the end of the day, it is kind of the first baseman's job. But Gio Urshela isn't the most experienced first baseman. I don't think he's played much first base at all prior to this year. You've had Brandon Drury over there. You've had Matt Dice over there, who hasn't been playing first base much in the last couple seasons because they shifted him over to catcher. Mm-hmm. So has Rendon been dealt a bad defensive hand? Sure. So I'm not solely putting it on him. I would never dream of doing that. All I'm saying is that we've officially hit the point where we're halfway through this contract. We have not gotten the productivity that you expect out of a man who's gotten over $100 million so far.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's why, like right now, he's like, he said, when did I ever say Rendon was a top-flight player? I'm not saying you said that he was a top-flight player. I'm just saying I'm justifying me ragging on him for $38 million and not being able to play. And I do think he's faking injuries. I don't think he's out there performing at his best. I mean, guys play through injuries. There's a reason why in football they give out a tough guy award. There's a reason why a guy like Cal Ripken, sure, he probably had injuries through his career. As old as he got, he still played the most games consecutively. Guys like that, there's Iron Man things for a reason. You know what I mean? Like players will get hurt, but they'll still play their 162, or they'll play pretty damn close to it. And he's just not one that we can rely on. If he's had one bad injury year, I'm sure me and you would be like, hey, you know what? He just had a bad 2021, 37 games played, but hey, he bounced back, played 150 the next year. That's all you want. You want production and you want game time play for the money we're paying him. And he's not living up to either one of those.
Yeah, I mean, because for starters, nobody ever said that he claimed he was a top 5 player. But the organization essentially did with what they're paying him. $38 million, we're talking you're the best third baseman in baseball, if not a top 3 third baseman in baseball type pay. Mm-hmm. You don't need, none of the fans need to say anything. So I'm not calling Randy out for that because he never said that, no. But the organization has put it out there. It doesn't matter what we think. We can think he's the worst third baseman in baseball, and I'm not making that claim either. What I'm saying is, when you're getting paid $38 million, and that was the richest contract at that point when we signed him, per year, AAV. So the organization outspokenly said, hey, this guy's the best third baseman. And at the time, none of us thought that he was going to be this unproductive. Yeah, I was a little confused that we got Rendon, but I was like, all right, well, at least this guy's a consistent third baseman. We don't have a good third baseman anyway.
Well, it's like we talked on the podcast. I mean, all that money was supposedly going to go to Garrett Cole, but Billy Epler couldn't shut his big fat trap, and he kept telling everybody that would listen or that had any kind of like thinking about free agency, hey, do you know that the Angels are investing in Garrett Cole? We really want Garrett. He wouldn't shut his fucking mouth. That's why I like Perry. At least when he makes a move, you don't know what's going on. But Epler just kept yapping, and the Yankees wound up getting him. And they were able to pony up the money because Epler was showing his cards. So then Artie was like, well, you myth on Garrett Cole, you better get someone good. And then there wasn't a really good second good pitcher on the market, so he went for the second best player like you would in the NFL draft, and he went and got Rendon. But he overpaid severely.
Well, let's see, 2020.
Who was our best pitching acquisition that year? Dylan Bundy?
Pretty much.
No, seriously.
I'm pretty darn sure it was Dylan Bundy.
Yeah, we needed pitching, and we got Dylan Bundy.
Yeah, and let me also say Dylan Bundy in 2020 was a solid pitcher for us. I'm not taking that away from him because, remember, we were all talking extension. We didn't have the podcast yet, but the bulk of Angels fandom was like, oh, we should extend this cat. And then 2021 came out, and he legitimately blew chunks, literally.
Yep. Yeah,
but
that's what he's known for here in Anaheim was blowing chunks.
Yeah, that's true. At least Rendon isn't known for blowing chunks. It's just Dylan Bundy. But that's what I have on that, man. I'll see you later for the show.
All right, brother, you got it. All right, that's Fernando right there. Let's see, dude. Every time I hear you calling the ringtone, I can't help but laugh because the first thing comes to mind is Vince McMahon classic outlandish entrance walk. Every time I hear Todd's ringtone, I hope it's Hammer. That dude's pretty funny. Steve Lee says, I've been saying it for Rendon sucks for 3 years. Todd laughed at me every time. Didn't we get Rasil in 2020? Dude, I'm not sure. Did we get Rasil in 2020? Let me see right now. If he was with us in 2020. I think he was 2021. Let's see. Yeah, he was in Cincinnati in 2020 because if you remember, 2020 was the last time the Reds made the playoffs. That's when they had Trevor Bauer. They had Raciel Iglesias. They got blanked, I think, by the Braves in the playoffs, but they were pretty decent. We got him in 2021. So Raciel Iglesias was our best acquisition pitching-wise in 2021. But 2020 was he was still in Cincinnati. Let's see. Also, let's see. Vetter says Rendon is known for blowing chunks of money. He's living good in Texas. So yeah, he's definitely living good in Texas. But this year Raciel's not doing all that great though. 4 innings pitched. He's got an 8.31 ERA in 5 games, 2 saves in 5 opportunities. So that's not really good. Our buddy, though, the one that I can't stand, not because he did anything to the organization when he was here other than suck, he's over there in Atlanta just tearing it up, of course, and that's Jesse Chavez. He has barely a 2.50 ERA right now and is getting the bulk of your saves over there for the Atlanta Braves. He sucks when he's with us every time, and then he goes over there and just kicks ass in Atlanta. So fuck you, Chavez. Let's see. Okay, Grill was actually funny right there. He said Dylan Bundy was puking was sick in both ways. Stupid. Yeah, because when he puked, it was like when Big 20 says, where is it? Big 20 used to he says this.
Oh, gnarly!
Yeah, that's what I thought when he puked that day. I was dying right there. Let's see, a couple more minutes right here, because it's already been an hour and a half in, and I'm getting the text about dinner. Because I pushed this one, dude. I thought I was gonna get home at 4, and I actually got home at 3. So I could have did it at 3, but I told Fernando to set it up for 4. So that was my bad. But let's do this. I'll play this because this is the motivation that should go to the Angels every night.
All right, you guys, let's listen up. We won a game yesterday. If we win one today, that's 2 in a row. We win one tomorrow, that's called a winning streak.
So we have to win the next 2 games to have a winning streak because we got the one today, but we need to look forward to a win on Friday. So let's check out the matchups before I get out of here. Minnesota against the Minnesota Twins. It's going to be let's see, this dude right here, Joe Ryan. And like I said earlier, Joe Ryan's off to a hot start. In 8 games, he's 6-1 with a 3.65 ERA, 57 strikeouts in 50 innings pitched. So he'll be opposed by our Angels pitcher, Reed Detmers, who's 0-3. He's got some product of some bad defense, and he's also thrown too many walks so far. He's got 14 already. He's 0-3, 35 innings pitched. He's given up 39 hits and 24 runs for an 8.97 ERA. So 4.89 ERA. He desperately needs a good start. So that'll be Friday's matchup. Saturday we'll be pitching Patrick Sandoval, who's 3-2 for the Angels. He in 8 starts, 44 innings pitched. He's only allowed 36 hits. He has walked. He's only walked 16 in 36. It's not bad. He's got an ERA of 3.22. He deserves a better record. Let's get him a win on Saturday. He'll be opposed by the Minnesota pitcher Louis Varland. Louis Varland is a second-year player, 4 games started this year. He's 1-0 with a 4.30 ERA, very pedestrian. So hopefully Sandoval can take advantage of that, and the Angels can help him with some offense, and we can get a victory for our boy. Then it's everyone who wants to go see a phenom, Shohei Ohtani, on Sunday on Little Leaguers Day. So far this season, he's got a record of, in 9 starts, he's 5-1. Should be like 7-1. He's got a 3.23 ERA. He has allowed 8 home runs. I think 5 in his last 2 starts. So that's a little concerning, but he's back home. The walks are up. Remember, last 2 seasons, 2022 and 2021, he only had 44 walks each season. This year, he's got half of that already, 22 walks. So he's got to get that down, but he's at 71 strikeouts. I'm sure he's going to have a good start in this one. Again, the Minnesota Twins are not the cream of the crop. They're just the best that's coming out of Minnesota or out of the Central, because the Central sucks as a division. Pablo Lopez will be opposed by him, the 27-year-old who came over from Miami. He's on his 9th start. He's 2-2 with a 4 flat ERA. He's also allowed 8 home runs, but his hits are at 44 and 54 innings pitched, so that's pretty good. But again, he's walked 14 already and given up 8 home runs, so he is hittable. So those are the matchups for the Angels and the Minnesota Twins. We'll get into previewing the next opponent afterwards, which will be Boston, because that could change, because right now they're slated to throw Silseth, Canning, and Anderson, but we'll talk about those guys on another show. So with all that being said, we're going to get into and Randy's saying we're going to sweep the Twinkies and pitch a no-hitter. There you go. He's trying to get that honk going. He wants that honk. You going to any games on the homestand? Better ask. Friday is like 50% maybe. But if I do go, it'd be Saturday. So I'll let you guys know. But with that being said, hopefully you guys can get on and purchase some tickets. You got to remember, you got to call 714 Tickets itself. The app is not going to be carrying that special ticket package. So there you go. So with that being said, everyone have a good rest of your evening. I'm going to go make some dinner and go chill with the fam. And you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. No hard feelings. It's baseball talk. It's hardcore talk. That's how we do it here. Love y'all. Good night.